Coming up in the programme, Te Puke gets a new speed limit, Ice Cube in a coffee, it's a song, and the new breath alcohol limit for driving. Kia ora, welcome to Central News for Thursday the 22nd of January. I'm Hilary Entwistle. Community input is being sought on a variety of speed limit changes and new names proposed for State Highway 2 between Domain Road and Paengaroa. The highway will revert to local road when the Tauranga Eastern Link opens later this year and is expected to service traffic heading to and from Te Puke. It will be operated by the Western Bay of Plenty District Council. As part of the handover, the council is required to review and adopt speed limits along the stretch of road. Tauranga City Council is reviewing the security for its elderly housing residents after a pensioner was robbed in his own unit by a youth threatening to kill him with a screwdriver. Barry, a 76-year-old Vietnam War veteran, found the youth who robbed him hiding in his shower in Monowai village on the evening of November 24th last year. In the Tauranga Youth Court this week, the offender was sentenced to 6 months in the Rotorua Youth Justice Residence and ordered to repay the money and the excess on Barry's car, which was damaged in the getaway. The Northern Knights have booked themselves a spot in the Ford Trophy semi-finals after a tense 2-wicket win against the Auckland Aces on the back of a 4-wicket haul from Graham Aldridge. The veteran seamer was in devastating form at Mount Mauganui's Bay Oval yesterday, tearing through the Aces' top order to have them at 5:45 in the 10th over. He ended the day with 418 off 8 overs. Black cap Dean Brownlee looked good early on, reaching 45 off 73 as the wickets tumbled around him before falling to the bowling of Matt Quinn. Now for our region's weather. Hamilton, your Friday is looking fine with light winds. You could have a high of 27 and an overnight low of 13. The rest of the Waikato, you're looking pretty much the same, fine with light winds. Paeroa, a high of 26 and an overnight low of 14. Matamata, 24 and 13. Te Awamutu, 27 and 12. And Tokoroa, 24 and 11. Tauranga, your Friday is looking fine with light winds and sea breezes. Your expected high is 24 and an overnight low of 17. Te Puke, you are exactly the same, fine with light winds, with an overnight low of 13 and a high of 24. Now for our marine forecast for Friday. West Coast Raglan, southeast 15 knots, changing to a northeast 15 knots north of Te Rau Point late this evening. Sea slight, southwest swell 2 metres offshore. High tide is at 11:38 a.m. East Coast Bay of Plenty, southeast 15 knots, rising to 20 for a time and turning to an easterly of 15 knots with fine spells out there. Your high tide is at 8:31. Just ahead after the break, speaking of marine forecasts, we look at videos on bar crossings. Welcome back to Central News. The Bay of Plenty Regional and Waikato Councils released educational videos last year about boat safety on some of the region's toughest bar crossings. Amanda found out what is the safest way to cross a bar.
So the award was with Coast Guard Boating Education, and the award itself was for education and innovation and technology. So it was like a combined Supreme Award.
Excellent. Marine Mate smartphone app has been, obviously, quite successful, downloaded over 20,000 times. Why do you think it's been a great success?
I think it's because people are now into using smartphones quite regularly. The technology's moved along that it's now achievable for councils to be able to do apps. They're not sort of bleeding edge technology, and it gave people what they want. It solved a problem.
And how did the project all come together? Who had the original idea to create an app for boat safety in the Waikato?
Yeah, so that was my team. It was actually a bit of a throwaway comment. We were talking about when you go from different regions, if you go from Bay of Plenty over the hill into Waikato, the rules can change, and it just happened to be a bit of a throwaway comment. Oh, it'd be great if there was an app for that. And we sort of just laughed. And then we sort of started talking about it a little bit more, and we thought, hey, we could actually do this, and we went for it.
It was a bit of a collaboration on funding in order to provide a free app. Who backed the project?
Well, who didn't really? There was 17 councils, 17 regional councils and 5 central government agencies. The big ones being Maritime New Zealand and Land Information New Zealand, because they've got a lot of information that we wanted to make it attractive to users.
And it's been a year since the launch. Have you had to make any tweaks?
Yeah, we've done quite a few. The best thing about apps is that your users give you feedback. So we took all the feedback that we got from the Apple Store and from Google Play and used that to make the app better. When we first started, it was a little bit clunky, and we wanted to just get the information out there and get people to say what they wanted, and that way we could improve it and have it good for their users. We're doing a very, very major upgrade which is coming out in the next week or so, which is the biggest change that we've done all year, so we're really excited about it.
And it's obviously great for people using Waikato waterways, but what about other areas in New Zealand?
Yeah, so Marine Mate is nationwide, so it's all councils that have a responsibility for navigation safety across the whole country. And the best thing about it was that there was some smaller councils that couldn't afford it, because I mean $5,000 can be quite a lot for some of the small councils, and it was really important to ACC that the whole country was covered, because it's part of their accident prevention, and so they funded 6 councils to make it nationwide.
And so say that I'm going out on my boat for the day in the Whangaroa Harbour. Does this app have everything that I need to know, or are there some things that the app just can't predict?
Yeah, so weather's one of them. We don't have weather on Marine Mate, and the simple reason for that is that other apps do it very, very well and already have collaborations with Maritime New Zealand for it. But if you're going out, then you'd start the night before and you'd check the tides, you'd know which time you want it to go out, you'd know what the local rules are, and where you can or can't do the activity that you want to, depending on if it's powered or non-powered.
Can you run us through the Marine Mate app and how it works?
Yes, definitely. There's probably 3 main features. The biggest feature is the tide times, which people find really attractive. And the best thing about this app is it's the first time that LINZ has actually put the tide times out that have been adjusted for daylight saving and also secondary ports. So you check that to know when is the best time to go out, because not all boat ramps are available at all tides. Then you'd look at the local boating rules, and then perhaps at the boat ramps and the zones that you're going to go into.
Visit the council's websites to view the bar crossings. The Lions Foundation Play It Strange songwriting competition is a Tauranga local, Talia Dalton. She's just 13 years of age, and as I found out, has a bright future ahead of her. I caught up with her after her win to find out about her winning song, Ice Cube in a Coffee.
So the award is from Play It Strange. It's like a competition for all around New Zealand, and you enter your home written songs into it, and they judge the songs on the way that you've written the lyrics and like the meanings and stuff. And yeah, and I got first place in it, and yeah. Yeah.
So you've done that already?
Yeah.
How was it?
Oh, it was great. It was a great first experience. We were meant to be in the B studio, but we ended up being in the A studio because it was empty, and that's like the really big, really nice studio. I was really excited about it.
Ice Cube in a Coffee, what do those lyrics mean?
Oh, well, so the song is it's like about how things just happen. So it's like if you put an ice cube in a coffee, it melts. So it's like talking about how, you know, it just happens and you can't really help it. So it's like, yeah.
Was there a particular event in your life that kind of inspired those lyrics?
I wrote it when I was like 11, and I'm not really sure what I wrote about. Just, you know, going through school and, you know, tough times and, you know, trying to make friendships and, you know, things not working out and then things working out. So it's just like everything just happens.
Is this something that you do a lot of in your spare time? Do you like chilling out and writing songs and that kind of thing?
Yeah, and yeah, a lot of times it's just like when I go upstairs to go to bed, I just kind of, sometimes it just comes to me and I'm like, oh, I'll write a song about this. And it's usually just like when something's happening in my life, like if we went through a big move or, you know, then it's good songwriting material.
So it's kind of like your journal?
Yeah, basically it's kind of like what you don't want to say, you can say in a song.
I've listened to the song and I can't believe your talent for the age of 13. Is it natural talent, or have you had lessons, or how did you get so musically talented?
I didn't have any lessons for it. I mean, in year 7 I went in a choir kind of group and we just sang, so it kind of got a little bit of my fear of playing in front of people over, but it's just from being in a musical family, you know, my parents and stuff just inspired it.
So what is your parents' background in music?
So they made an album when I was like 1 or 2, I think, and yeah, my dad plays the guitar and the drums and sings and everything, and my mom sings and she's learning to play the bass and the ukulele, and yeah, so it's like, yeah, so they do all that. And
what does winning the award mean for you? I mean, obviously you got to record in the studio, but what does it mean?
I don't know, I wasn't really expecting that I would even get in the CD. I don't know, I just thought, you know, all around New Zealand, I probably wouldn't, you know, there's so many people here, so, but I think it gave me a little bit more confidence to like, you know, I don't know, like more being able to feel like you actually have a talent, you know.
Has that always been an ambition to be an international singer-songwriter? And do you think now that you can?
I don't really know. I mean, it seems like things are going well, like all these opportunities have opened, but yeah, I don't know. It would be cool.
Where to from here then?
When we were performing at the Play It Strange CD release album, there was a lady there from Universal Records, and she wanted to talk to me, but we didn't get to talk to her that night. So the next morning, she emailed my dad, and we met up at Universal, and she wants to mentor me and like help me out, and yeah, so it was really, really like exciting and really unexpected.
And just to make sure that we are correct, that's Universal Studio, the same label that has signed Lorde?
Yeah, and they started when she was 13 as well.
Some hearts wither like an apple in the last month of decay, or a flower in the winter. Some just wilt away, or maybe just a sliver, like something nagging at the back of your brain, or a story that is waiting to be told, even though it's not the day. Some things just can't be helped. Some things, they just melt. Like ice cream in the summer, or glaze in a kiln, an ice cube in a coffee that's just waiting for the milk. Some things just can't be helped. Some things, they just, some hearts wither like an apple in the last month of decay, or a flower in the winter. Some just wilt away, or maybe just a sliver, like like something nagging at the back in your brain, or a story that is waiting to be told, even though it's not the day. Some things just can't be helped. Some things they just.
Amazing talent. If you would like to hear the song again, you can on playitstrange.org.nz. Just ahead after the break, we look at the new alcohol limit. Welcome back to Central News on TV Central. The new alcohol limit has well and truly come into effect since December the 1st. The alcohol limit for drivers aged 20 years and over has lowered from 400 mcgs of alcohol per litre of breath to 250 mcgs. Many have been caught though over the festive season. So is the way we calculate standard drink size need a refresh?
But everybody's different, and that's the problem. That we don't all metabolise alcohol or ingestive food at the same rate as others. So that's the big problem. It depends on the size, your gender, it depends on whether you've been eating, it depends on what activities you've been doing, it depends on a whole raft of things. So it's not an exact science, as you say. And so the important message has to be that if you're going to have a drink, then simply don't drive. It's that simple. And you know, friends and relatives have got a part to play in this. You know, if you're out there with your mates having a drink, don't let them drive. Make alternative arrangements to get them home.
Who do you think has the most difficulty gauging when they're over the limit? Is there a certain type of people?
No, I think everybody that's had a drink has that difficulty in gauging whether in fact they would be under the limit. And so once again it comes back to that, you know, if you've had a drink, just simply don't drive, don't take that risk, because that risk can end in tragedy. You know, you can end up killing someone, injuring innocent road users, you can injure yourself, your passengers, or even worse.
Who is getting caught out the most? Is it women in their wine or men in their beers?
Look, to be honest, it's probably the men. Looking at Western Bay of Plenty statistics over the last 8 years, the men represent about between 72 and 74% of all drink drivers caught on Western Bay of Plenty roads. So they account for 3/4 of the problem, to be honest.
Is there a particular age range?
Yes, a lot of people are quick to blame the young people, but it's actually the middle-aged men and women that we catch more often than not these days. And in terms of the under-20s, the under-20s in the Western Bay, under-20 drink drive apprehensions in Western Bay have reduced from over 500 in 2008 down to 156 for last year. And that is an incredible change. And really the challenge is now for the adults to actually achieve the same results.
Some say that small towns have a culture of drunk driving. Do you think we can ever change that?
Look, we can change anything. You know, road safety is everybody's responsibility. If everybody just does something to make a difference, then we can change it for the better of all of New Zealand. Now, I know that small town folk will tell you there's no public transport, and they have to travel some distances from their local pub to home. But that shouldn't be an excuse, because there's plenty of family support, there's plenty of support from friends and parents and so on. I mean, I've been called at 1 o'clock in the morning to go and pick up my son, and happily do it anytime.
Okay, serious stuff. What about if we do get caught over the limit?
Well, the changes coming in on the 1st of December have actually introduced an infringement regime for those people that breach the lower level alcohol limits. So for an adult that has an evidential breath test result of between 251 and 400, There's an infringement fee for that payable within 28 days, and that infringement fee is $200, but it also incurs 50 demerit points. So if you accrue 100 or more demerit points in any 2-year period, then your licence is suspended for 3 months. Provides a really good deterrent to actually drinking and driving as well. Now, in terms of the excess blood alcohol levels, there's still an infringement fee, and that's for the range between 51 milligrams of alcohol and 80. And that infringement fee is $700 and also includes 50 demerit points.
But what about if we're way over? What happens?
So if you're over the 400 micrograms of alcohol per litre of breath and over the 80 in the blood levels, then a charging document's prepared and you face court action. Maximum penalty for that is $4,500 fine, up to 3 months imprisonment, and a minimum mandatory disqualification from driving for 6 months. So pretty heavy penalties.
What about reoffenders? I mean, how many times do they have to get a slap on the hand until the judge is, likely to sentence them to serve time?
Well, I think it depends a lot on the circumstances, to be honest. There are occasions where recidivist drink drivers are sentenced to custodial sentences. But what I can say is that if you drink and drive and you injure or you kill someone, then a custodial sentence is a big possibility.
And who are the repeat offenders? Is it your stereotypical young drunken male?
No, not the young drunken male at all, actually. It's the middle-aged men and women, the 30 to 50 age group range that are your main recidivist offenders.
Now, it's nearly the festive season, so the boys in blue are going to be out in force around the bay to try and enforce these new drink driving limits.
We sure are. Look, we've got Operation Profile running at the moment. That started on the 22nd of October and will run through to the 11th of January. Now, that targets drink and drug driver enforcement, and that ensures that the booze bus is deployed every single week.
Just remember, it is 250 mcg of alcohol per litre of breath. That is the news for today. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can via our Facebook page, centralnews.tv, or email us, news@tvcentral.co.nz. Join me again tomorrow night for more stories from the Waikato and the Bay of Plenty. I'm Hilary Entwistle. I hope you have a lovely evening.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.